We are going to talk for the next couple of minutes on PASHU, the concept of animals in Indian mythology. And we always begin Indian ideas through the Vedas, and you notice over there animals are just animals. They are not part of any rich tradition, they are not any part of any storytelling. They are just there. They are animals. They are discussed. You aspire to possess them. You want them, so you have cows and you want horses. It's property. Animals slowly start becoming important when you start reading the Jatakas, when suddenly you have stories of almost like Aesop's fables, where animals become part of storytelling. So Buddha in his previous life was taking different forms, sometimes an elephant, bird, serpent, monkey. This happens much later. Ramayana is one of the most dramatic stories where animals play a very central role. In the Mahabharata, animals play an important role. In the Puranas, they become absolutely essential and integral, and really visually they started becoming important, because on temples, when you enter a temple, animals are a critical portion of the temple architecture. Animals become important because they are trying to explain an idea, and that's a central idea which distinguishes Indian ideas from global ideas. So for example, if I am studying Chinese thought, or if I am studying European thought, one thing which makes Indian thought unique is the word karma, nothing else, not Atma, not Bhagavan, nothing, just this one word karma, which starts in the Vedas. You find it in Buddhism, you find it in Jainism, you find it in Puranas, and this one idea becomes important. What is karma? At one level it means action, at another level it means reaction, at a third level it means fate. What shapes your life, what shapes your past, what shapes your present, what shapes your future, and that's karma. And so you can imagine the ancient rishis sitting in one place and experiencing the world, and when they are experiencing the world, they classify the world very broadly into the inanimate and the animate, the ajiva, that which is not alive, and sajiva, that which is alive, and that's the primary division. And they say that what is alive is hungry, which is not alive is not hungry, and therefore hunger is an important concept. Why is it hungry? It is hungry because it needs food, it craves for food. And why does it crave for food? Why does it crave for nourishment? Because without food it cannot survive. And then these hungry creatures are classified into two groups, and the phrase which is used continuously is charachara. So chara, charne wala prani, that which grazes, which is mobile. It is mobile, it moves. So animals, this is where animals are located. And achara, that which is not mobile, which is not grazing, the trees. So nature is charachara, composed of plants and animals, and this is where animals come into being. They are jivas, they are alive, they are hungry, and they are mobile. And once they locate this, so you have the ajiva, then you have the jiva. The jiva has been classified into the charachara, and then comes the human being, the purusha. Of course, the word purusha has many different meanings depending on which text you refer to, but the simplest way to understand is an animal which is mobile, so it's chara, but it has the capacity to imagine. The moment it has the capacity to imagine, the equation changes. Animals don't imagine, at least not in the human scale, nothing in the human scale. Plants don't imagine, not in the human scale. I mean, we can argue, yes, they imagine, but they don't have enough grey matter to imagine the way humans do. The level at which we imagine, this imagination changes the equation. We suddenly observe, why are birds moving in a particular way? Why are fishes moving in a particular way? Why are herbivorous animals moving in a particular way? You realize they're continuously moving because they're seeking food, the migratory patterns, they're looking for grass, they're looking for pastures, the tiger is looking for prey, the deer is looking for pastures, the seasons change, they move wherever there is food, the flamingos come to Bombay in a particular time. So food seems to be shaping movement, and therefore a new relationship is formed between the predator and the prey. This predator and prey, and suddenly you look at nature and you realize there are all the animals are hungry and they are frightened. They are hungry for food, therefore pasture and prey, and the animal is frightened because it will be eaten by the predator. And the fear of starvation creates rivalry. There is rivalry because food resources are very scarce, they are limited, and therefore in order for that food animals fight with each other to get that food. So suddenly this fear of competition, and all these fears are located, can be seen in the animal kingdom. Once you start observing the fears, the rishis noticed all these fears are also located in human beings. The fear of starvation, kal ka khana kahan se aayega, where will that food come from? The fear of predation, will somebody exploit me, abuse me, take advantage of me? Fear of competition, will he do better than me, will he get more importance than me? All these fears that you see in animals is there in humans, and it is multiplied by the power of imagination. And the rishis are watching this, they're saying, how do we explain these human ideas? What makes me human? And they were trying to explain human behavior, our actions, our reactions, and how the world is structured. And this knowledge was called Brahma Vidya. And to explain these ideas, they started using plants, they started using animals, they started using various forms of life. And so let's look at images. So let's begin with Shiva, very popular god, and typically in modern times presented as a macho god for some reason. Nothing like this in the Puranas. Nothing like this macho muscular thing, which is, I think, male fantasy and female fantasy of the 21st century. The idea of Shiva is always associated with Mount Kailas, and this is very significant. Mount Kailas is made of stone and covered with snow. Why are they repeatedly saying Mount Kailas? Stone and snow. It means nothing grows here. There is no vegetation. If there is no vegetation, there can be no animal here, because animals need herbs to survive, they need vegetation to survive, to graze upon. There is no pasture, and yet Shiva is associated with a bull called Nandi. You tell a farmer कि शिवजी पहाड़ के ऊपर कैलाश पर्वत पे वहाँ कुछ उगता नहीं है, वहाँ पे बैल के साथ रह रहे हैं, तो the farmer says, बैल के साथ? First of all, बैल is useless. You can't do anything with a बैल. बैल is wild and independent and it cannot be controlled. Are they trying to tell us about Shiva's personality? He's wild, he cannot be tamed, he's virile, and he lives on a mountain top where there's nothing to eat. How can he survive there? Because he's never hungry. He has overpowered hunger. That's what they're trying to communicate when they explain bull on top of Mount Kailas. And then, so there is a bull, but Shiva, this Shiva is shown with a wife. Okay, he is not hungry, but he has a wife. So the farmer says, फिर पत्नी का यूज क्या है? अगर भूख नहीं है तो फिर पत्नी क्यों चाहिए उनको? दिल से हाँ, उनको शादी नहीं करना था, लेकिन उसको फोर्स करा के शादी किया गया था. Achha, and the wife is associated with a lion or a tiger. What does a lion or tiger eat? Bull. Husband has a bull, wife has a tiger. Are they trying to communicate something subtle? And suddenly these images of animals play a critical role in communicating the nature of the world. And then of course they have children. There is Ganesha, who is shown as corpulent, rotund, elephant headed, and another son called Kartikeya, who is muscular, sporty, strong. Why these two different sons? Ganesha represents abundance, prosperity. Fear of predation, somebody will kill me, I need a warlord, I need a Bahubali, I need someone's strength. Bhala pakadke, there is Kartikeya. Again these two fears are being acknowledged. And then you see that around Shiva's neck there is a snake. What do snakes eat? Mice and rats associated with Ganesha. And Kartikeya has a peacock. What do peacocks eat? Snakes. And suddenly you see this family portrait full of predators and prey. But do we notice it? Do we explain it like this to our children? Because we have seen this picture everywhere and they have been carved on stone statues and art historians show it, but we don't notice the simple things. Predator, prey, peacock, snake, rat, tiger, lion, bull, cow. All these images are there. And suddenly using food as a metaphor, just using food, you suddenly see the animal kingdom come alive, and it's no longer about animal kingdom, it's really about metaphysics, it's really about philosophy, it's really about physiology, it's about nature, it's about life. जो जहाँ भूख है, where there is hunger, वहाँ भोग चाहिए, food. और जहाँ भोग होगा, वहाँ बलि होगा, something will die. और जहाँ बलि होगा, वहाँ कर्म होगा. And suddenly you have the world of karmas, because every time there is an action, there is going to be a reaction. And therefore karma starts to be related with hunger. So if I don't have hunger, then there is no bhog, then there is no bali, therefore there is no karma. Then what does it become? Kailas Parbat, stone mountain covered with snow, no life.